Hey everybody, this is Coach Tara Woodruff, the Mind Reset Coach, coming with the latest Mind Reset blog. This blog post is called the 30-Day Mind Fast. Now, let me go ahead and dig right in. Lately, I've been affected by some crazy news going on in the world. Between the police state, evil doctors, and Kylie Jenner's lips, I find myself becoming agitated. I found my temper to be getting shorter, yelling more, and being easily pissed off, and I don't like or want that. Now, though I don't study the news anymore like I used to, some of you might know me for a while and know that I was quite the truther. Um, I found myself drawn to certain things and allowing myself and my emotions to get to me. The thing is, the news isn't teaching me something new. It's just reinforcing a programmed fear, and I don't want anything to do with it. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Malcolm X, very wise man indeed. We both know that the change begins within, and I'm really in a great place in my life and career, and I know how debilitated the system wants us to be. I am no longer a slave and will not allow the master to crack the whip over my back anymore, and that's how it's done, via the news. They fill the news feeds and TV channels with one horror after another to keep the chains on you tight. Those chains are xenophobia, racism, religious dogma, violence, police brutality, abuse of powers all across the board. The news keeps you feeling like you must judge another, a situation, or people with the angle being fed to you. It's called the spin, and it quite literally will keep the regular working man dizzy. My entire career right now, forever, is going to be and is focused solely on freedom, helping people free themselves and live as their souls have been designed. To be the evangelist of freedom I must take great care of my own. In doing this fast, I step into my own power, and you can too. Found this awesome quote: the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. That's by Albert Camus. So lose those chains and stand up and declare, I am free. I am free to create my own path. And I lost a bunch of part of the blog there. Anyway, let me continue. I was on the Hangout the other night, and my friend Justin was talking about this 30-day mental fast he had begun with his team. He described what they were doing, and I knew right then at that moment that I wanted to do it too. I knew it was time to recharge my batteries and kick those chains aside. So today I share with you what this 30-day mental fast is, how to do it, and how to prepare. I'm going to begin on Monday because I love Mondays, and I invite you to do the same thing. This will help you kind of clear some things up. I'm going to share with you as well in this post. So here's the deal. This is the number one most important part. If you do nothing else whatsoever this entire 30 days, this is the one thing you need to do. Do not listen to, read, or watch any news, not local news, not world news, the Middle East, not about anything. Turn off the radio, use your newspaper for kindling, cancel service. Stay away from blogs that talk about the news. Stay away from anyone on social media that wants to post about the news. A full-blown 30-day news fast. That's going to help clear your head up. Here's an example of how to tell Facebook exactly how to not show you the news. This way you're not constantly like closing your eyes and blinking. I mean, if you spend a lot of time on Facebook like I do, because I basically run my business off of there and everything else, you want to know how to do this. Now, it took me a while to find this because I have a pretty clean news feed these days. So I protected my friend and his name because I don't want any, I don't want to not be friends with this gentleman. He doesn't flood my feed with horrible news all the time. However, it's just one particular thing that I found to show you this example. And it's something is news. Like this one says breaking news. You're going to notice right here there's a little arrow where I have this red arrow pointing. It's a little drop-down menu. When you open that drop-down menu, you go ahead and click, I don't see fewer posts like this. That will actually slow down how often you see anything about Barack Obama or invasion or Texas. That's how they're going to use keywords on that. I don't use this in such a way where I block someone. I don't use it. I never report someone's photo. There's a reason for sharing stuff like this. Some people need to know. They don't know. So why would I report the photo? I'm not trying to censor for you. I'm trying to censor for myself. I already know what's going on with that. Okay. And so that's super important to be able to do this. When you see something in your newsfeed on Facebook, if you're probably like me, you probably found out about this blog from Facebook. You can adjust accordingly without blocking the person that you're friends with, or not seeing everything that they post. I don't want to unfollow anybody. I always suggest that if someone's unbearable, break up with them. Okay, just delete them. Okay, the next thing, this is the second most important thing over the next 30 days, is to not complain, not even a little bit. And when you find yourself wanting to, or about to, or find yourself experiencing something you dislike, remind yourself to relax, simply observe what it is, and hold your tongue. Then move away from the situation immediately as best as you can without complaining about it. Do not engage in conversations with anyone that is complaining. So, for instance, if you still have a job and you're at work and you're pissed, because I would imagine most of the time you are, I know I was, instead of constantly finding yourself caught up in it and being pissed off and bitching about it, or if you're talking to a coworker that's bitching all the time about it, just observe that you feel that way, because you're allowed to feel that way, and just let yourself go. Just don't apply too much importance to it, and move yourself away from the situation the best you can. If you are in the position to tell them to take that job and shove it, then do it. Don't put yourself through any unnecessary bullshit for any reason whatsoever. Use your common sense and use your wisdom. I ended up having to quit my job because I could no longer take it anymore, and I knew that I physically wouldn't be able to walk in the door anymore. I had zero savings. I did have a small side business, a home-based business. I had a dream of opening up an organic gardening business, and I gave my 2 weeks notice. I didn't just storm out. I just knew what was coming. I knew I wasn't going to be able to continue to go to work. And as prepared as I was mentally for it, financially, I was not. And I ended up experiencing some pretty extreme poverty afterwards as a result of my unpreparedness, I guess you could say. So be kind to yourself in this instance. If there's a certain amount of time that you need to just bite your tongue, then you go ahead and do that, but don't allow yourself to be a slave to it. Stand up for yourself. You're a human being. You're not your paycheck. You're not anything else. So keep that in mind. Okay, guys? Anything you have time to complain about, you have time to change. And that's the God's honest truth. There's no way around it. If you find over this next 30 days, you're going to find yourself with a lot of extra time. It's going to be kind of like quitting smoking. You're going to find a lot of extra time because you're not going to be tied up in something on Facebook that disempowers your heart, or you're not going to be tied up staring at the TV saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe what happened." Oh my gosh, those poor people, or oh my gosh, what's happening, or oh my gosh, those terrible people. You're not going to have all those moments of despair filling up your day. And if you're not complaining and you're taking a moment to just accept how you feel about it and move away from the problem, you're going to have a lot of time. So I want you to start focusing on delivering on them. This is the third thing. Drink living water, at least half your body weight in ounces. Now, what is living water? It's spring water. Now, that may not be as easy as you think, okay? Bottled spring water is usually just bottled tap water. So if you don't live near a pure spring or have pure spring well, I suggest charging your water with crystals. To you, that may sound hooky, but it's not. Or you can use Dr. Masaru Emoto's water experiment to help you charge your water. So this is what you're going to do. They're both essentially the same thing, because as you are focusing on your water in such a way that you are adding beneficial intentions to it. Don't sleep on this power, because by the end of the 30 days, you will be so vitally aware of how beneficial your intentions are. So if you don't have a pure source of spring water, use purified water. I like the idea of crystal charged water. So only use quartz crystals for this particular reason. Some crystals actually aren't something that you want to kind of like a tiger's eye, for instance, has arsenic in it. You don't want to use tiger's eye crystal in your water because of the chemical compound that's in that element. So I stick with pure quartz crystal. I actually have a natural quartz crystal that I found in Montauk that I find is my most spiritually charged crystal in my house. You could use a sphere. You can use tumbled quartz. You could use like the pointed quartz, like the kind that you would have on a necklace. Anything like that. But keep it quartz just so you keep it safe. And this is what I do. I actually charge my crystals in the dirt. There's a reason for that. That's where they are. They're in rocks and they're in dirt. They get mined. Okay, they get pulled out of the ground. So what I do is I get a terracotta pot. I put the stone on top. I relax a little bit, and then I push this along, and I pushed it into the dirt and covered it. It's sitting outside the dirt. Make sure it's fresh dirt. Don't get it out of a bag that you got at the Home Depot. Make sure it's dirt right out of your yard. If you use insecticides or pesticides, maybe try not using that this next 30 days. And if you do, then go to an area in your yard where there is no pesticide. And if you really want, if you don't have, maybe you live in the city and you live in, a building and you don't have any dirt, you know what I'm saying? If there's a park nearby, go to it. There's a way to find a way, okay? You want to have something that's got life in it. The dirt, you want to have little bugs in there, and you want to have all the minerals that belong in that dirt in there to help charge that crystal. Okay, so tomorrow when you wake, you go ahead and dig out the crystal and put it somewhere safe outside. So what I would do is I would just put it back to the number 3 position, leave it on top of that same pot, and let it sit in the sun all day. And I'll just leave it alone. I won't bother with it. And before I go to bed tomorrow night, you gather up that crystal and either put it under your pillow or under your bed. You could also put it in some salt water on your nightstand or something like that to add more charge to it. Okay. Now, when you do that, put some intention into the crystal, just be like, oh, I love you, crystal. You're going to hook me up with the best water this month. Whatever it is you want to say, whatever feels right to you. If you feel like you're faking any of it, don't do that, because you don't want to be inauthentic to yourself. Okay. Maybe you're a Christian or a Catholic or something like that. You want to say a Christian prayer over your water. Do that. You don't have to engage in crystals and stuff like that if that makes you feel uncomfortable. Okay, so then on Monday morning, what you do is you get up, you wash your crystals with a natural soap, such as a Castile, which is an olive oil soap, or a Bastille, which is a vegetable oil soap, and rinse it well enough that no soap residue is present. You could use a little brush or anything like that. Like particularly mine is a rough stone because I found it on the ground. It hasn't been treated and tumbled in any way. There's going to be nooks and crannies. You're going to want to make sure those are cleaned out. That's why I suggest that if you, try to use a tumble stone if you have one, or a pointed stone. Then you're going to get the water allotment for the day. You're going to put it in a glass container if you have one. If you have one, excellent. Put the crystal in there, and as you go to get something to drink, pour the crystallized water into your glass. Now, if you don't want to do anything with that, well, first of all, let me give you a caution. Don't leave the crystal in the glass. Because when you go to pour it, you might break the glass and spill water all over the place, cut yourself or something. And you don't want to put the crystal in your glass that you're drinking from because it could strike your teeth. Anything like that, you don't want that. You just want to charge your water with it, okay? It's not about, having it in the water while you're drinking it, okay? So you could also just go ahead and put the crystal near the glass of water. That's after I charge my water, I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to make sure my drinking glass is near that crystal when I'm drinking it. Okay. Now this is the next thing that you can do. And I actually did this. This is my glass. I decided that I was going to write what I wanted to. So you would take a moment to write your intentions for the water on a piece of paper and take it. It's not like it's the family crystal or something like that. I don't have to worry about that. I used a Sharpie and I wrote total well-being because I want to include it all in this 30 days. So I wrote that right on there. It's indelible for drinking. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, or when it's time for me to drink water to wash my glass, I'm probably going to be able to wash it right off and just wait until it dries and go ahead and write something else on it or write the same thing. The important thing is the water that you're going to be drinking in this 30 days, you want to make sure you set an intention for it. Just go ahead and set an intention that the water is going to bring you life, okay? However you want it to be. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is when you wake up, you're going to wake up with positivity immediately. Start your day with something positive. Read a few passages from an uplifting book. Listen to an uplifting audio. Or put one of those empowering books in your bathroom, okay? You get out of the bathroom, take your time, read a couple passages, get up, do your thing, okay? Here's a couple of examples. This is on the way out my bedroom, out the door. I've got a couple of examples of the Tao Te Ching here, the power, Eckhart Tolle's A New World, Liberation by Beckwith, the 50 Cent and Robert Greene's The 50th Power, Alchemy's 9 Dimensions, Excuses Be Gone, Think and Grow Rich, and Fractal Time. I have that all right there, ready to run out the door. So this is going to be like, you know, I'm going to grab these and read a little time. Those are some ideas. Go around and look in your current library and find stuff that you think is going to make you feel good. It doesn't have to be something specifically personal development. Just make sure it makes you feel good and doesn't make you feel sad, okay? Because I love the inner circle. I just go ahead and play that, and when I'm doing checking my emails, or I'm doing my story bumping for my marketing business and my business page, I'll go ahead and listen to the inner circle while I'm doing that. It's not that I pay any particular attention to it. I just let it play, okay? Sometimes what I'll do is if I find myself exhausted in the day and want to take a nap, I'll go ahead and put on Speak the World into Existence. It's a special audio in the inner circle, in the archives, and I'll go ahead and play that low and go to sleep. And when it's over, I'm up and I'm ready to take on the world. So I also love this one for a quick pick-me-up right here, The Real You by Alan Watts. Go figure. Would you know that I like this one? I actually use this video as a header on my homepage on my blog. I also really Combs podcasts. They're linked through here in the blog. Really, really great. He's very, very empowering, and he's super. He gets right to the point. You're not going to have to worry about a lot of fluff with Jeffrey Combs. Okay, he doesn't own any. Simply find something that you really love, that's wonderful, and listen to it. Okay, just do that. Find a way to do that during the day, even if it's while you're doing something else. And if all else fails, you don't want to hear someone talking, play some Baroque music. It will affect your mood. It will really make things. So go ahead and play the Baroque music and go about your day and get your work done. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to move. Sometime during the day's course, move. Take a walk, go for a run, do some yoga, martial arts, go for a swim, dance, horseback ride, surf, climb, garden, whatever it is. Just go ahead out there and do some of it, okay? Doesn't mean that you got to be some kind of nothing. You don't have to be training for a marathon. What I'm talking about here is just getting some of that blood moving. And it might give you some extra time that you might not realize that you have during the day to listen to some audios. You know, throw your iPod, your thingy, or whatever it is you got there, play the music in your ears or whatever. I don't do that. I like to listen to nature. So just go ahead and do that for as long as you can and appreciate it while you're doing it, okay? This is another thing I want to say about your movement of the day. Make your daily movement an adventure. Use your imagination. Turn a yoga pose into a death-defying feat with your mind. You know, if you go through a walk through the neighborhood, put yourself on the road in The Hobbit. Hear the sounds of the gravel under your feet as you walk. Imagine you're on a great journey. If you're on a horseback ride, you could immediately put yourself as some sort of knight in shining armor on a horse, and that you're fighting for freedom. You know, you could garden, and while you're gardening, you could pretend you're a homesteader, you're an early American pioneer. Or if you go surfing, you could imagine that you're surfing with the dolphins. There's so many different things. Just add some imagination to your movement, and you just, let me tell you something, it's a really beautiful thing. It's really important to have active and vibrant imaginations. So, and finally, last but not least, this next 30 days, end your day with a good book or an audio. You can even go to sleep and use sleep hypnosis to further enlighten your brain. I listen to sleep hypnosis every single night without fail. Once in a while, I'll give my computer a break because I have to listen to it through the computer, and I'll turn it off. Usually like on a Saturday night or something like that. I'll just let my computer sleep all night. I really like Dr. Virtual 7. I found him on YouTube, and Michael Seeley. Dr. Virtual 7 does subliminal, so you don't hear anything really happening. It's just uses binaural beats and so forth. Michael Seeley actually is speaking, and they're really great audio. So I start with Michael Seeley, and it moves into a Dr. Virtual 7. And I wake up in the morning to the sound of ocean, like I belong on the ocean, okay? So those guys are really great. So sit down before you go to bed, cross-leg your legs, grab your book from the side table, and read a couple of paragraphs. You don't have to sit there and read all night. Just read a couple, because sometimes reading doesn't put you to sleep. It actually wakes you up. Allow yourself to read some really empowering things. Bust out your journal. Write how you feel. Talk about, one specific thing you're grateful for in the day. Doesn't have to be everything, just one thing. End your day on a positive note, and then go to sleep. And if you want, you can go ahead and use some sleep hypnosis to further enhance, because when you're sleeping, your subconscious and it's gathering that information while you're sleeping. Okay, so I think it's really important. In conclusion, keep notes on your experience over the next 30 days. Notice how you feel at the end compared to how you felt before. Okay, take notice of the improvements you experience in your life, and make some plans for keeping some of it in your life beyond this fast. I'd love to hear about your experiences and would like to share them. If you'd like to share them with me, shoot me a message right on my blog. There's a contact me section. Right at the top, you have to go down to the more tab, and then it'll be contact me. Shoot me an email. Tell me how you feel. You could tell me 2 weeks into it. You could tell me today. You know what? This sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I don't want to hear. Well, if you do that, don't do that, because I'm not going to answer you, and I really don't care for that. But if you enjoy this and you're enjoying your mental fast, I'd like to hear about it. I definitely would like to hear about it. I would like to hear about it, because I think that between you and me and our commitment to being happier, more beautiful people, that we can really do a lot in 30 days with no news, no complaining, and some really good water, and moving around, using our imagination, and picking up a book for a change, and, just allowing ourselves to be grateful for one thing today. Do that for 30 days. I can't wait to see how our lives change at the end of this 30 days. I just know it's going to be wonderful. And I want to thank Justin Ferengia for reminding me to do something. I've done a 30-day no complaining challenge. I don't think I added the no news to it. I don't watch TV news, but I have been affected by news I'm seeing on my Facebook news feed, so I'm getting even more diligent about that. Clean up your email subscriptions too. That might be something, kind of just like do a regular old life declutter. Whatever it is you got to do, but those main points that I talked about in this blog today really going to help you out, and I really appreciate you guys spending this time with me. This video is going on, but I wanted to do it this way as well. I love you all very much. This is Coach Tara Woodruff, the Mind Reset Coach, coming to you with the 30-day Mind Fast. Peace.